Hey everyone, it's Kelly here from Spiritual Awakening Signs. If you don't know me, I help people like you who are going through spiritual awakening to reduce your symptoms and make the whole process much easier. And we're getting into that today. We're talking about the 3 most important practices that you should be doing all the time for your awakening. What do you need to know? What do you need to be doing to maintain balance, to make the process easier? We're going to get into all of that, and we're going to delve into a bit more details as well, where we tell you things that you maybe want to avoid so that you don't make the process worse, and we've got some options for you at the end that can help too. So if you're joining us live, you can say hello, tell me who you are and where you're from, and we're going to get into some of this. So the thing is, the challenge that we've got with spiritual awakening is we don't always know what to do. There's not a lot of guidance out there. There's not a lot of information on what we should be doing, how we should manage the process, or what we can do for self-care. And that poses a real big problem for us because it can leave us feeling really isolated and really alone and really unsure of what to do to move forward. It's like, how do we make this any better? And of course, if anyone's resonating with this, do let us know below, because it's a tough situation. It's a tough experience to go through. And I can see Kate's joined us. Hi Kate, she's from South Africa. Awesome. So do let us know if you resonate with any of these things that we're talking about, but there are certainly a few key practices that you want to be doing to ensure you keep your spiritual awakening in balance and you make it as easy as you possibly can. So let's just dive right into them, and we'll start talking about them now. So the 3 things that you should be doing at least every week, I would say, every week to support your awakening, you want to do 3 key things, and I'm going to let you know them and then we're going to break them down a little bit. So my recommendations for the 3 key things are, first and foremost, ground your awakening. You want to be doing energy grounding every single week. You want to be doing energy grounding every single day if you possibly can, but we'll get into a bit more. It's a little bit more complicated than that, and don't worry, we've got a free course that will guide you through the entire thing for spiritual awakening. We're going to break that down. You want to clear your energy, so you want to make sure that you're clearing any energy out from within you that you're absorbing, because when you go through awakening you become like a sponge, so you get all clogged up and with everybody else's stuff. You want to clear that out. And also you want to make sure that you cleanse your space. So you've cleansed the inner energy, you want to cleanse the external energy, the energy of your home, the space that you're living in. So we're going to talk about why these are important, and I'll break them down just a little bit. Okay, so I'll say a few more hellos. Hi to Lisa from Florida. We've got another Kelly. Hi Kelly from Massachusetts. Awesome. From one Kelly to another. So let's break this down a little bit. So the first thing I always recommend is grounding your awakening. Now you need to ground your awakening if you want to get rid of those really difficult signs and symptoms. So things like feeling really emotional or having wildly swinging emotions, feeling really sensitive, feeling like your body's breaking down, or you're getting a lot of physical issues to do with awakening, feeling like you can't sleep, feeling like it's too overwhelming and you don't know what to do, getting too much psychic information, starting to feel confused. All this can be alleviated by grounding, but it's a very specific type of grounding, and I will go into a little bit about that. It's important that you avoid certain spiritual stimulants while you're going through awakening, and particularly if your symptoms are really difficult. Now we have got a free 5-day course. You'll see it in the description below, and it will guide you through everything, because there's some things that we use generally, like crystals, essential oils, yoga, meditation, things that we use to ground ourselves that can make the process worse, believe it or not. It's all listed in the free 5-day course. Click below and it will guide you through each step of this so that you can start to clear that space out, reduce your symptoms and get grounded. And when you do that, what you'll find is that you alleviate a lot of anxiety. Anxiety is a really common symptom in spiritual awakening, but grounding that energy can take away a lot of that restless, nervous energy where your energies are all frazzled and you can't calm down, you can't settle. That's what you want to be doing, is grounding. So very important that you're doing that all the time to keep your symptoms in check, to keep them at a level where you can manage it. Okay. Second thing you want to be doing is clearing your energies. Now this again is something that I would say you want to do weekly. You want to clear your personal energies, the energies within your soul and within your aura. And that's really important, because when we go through awakening, like I said earlier, we become like a sponge. You absorb all the stuff that's going on around about you. And unfortunately, that means sometimes you pick up on other people's bad moods, bad vibes. You pick up all the negative energy from arguments and conflict. You sometimes pick up other people's stuff, so you might start to feel their emotions. You might start to pick up a health complaint or tune into something like that they've got, and you're left all uncomfortable. So if you're finding that you're interacting with people and you come away from them and you feel really drained, you don't feel good, you feel negative, you feel depressed, you need to cleanse your energies, because what's happening is you're absorbing all that negative information and then it's got nowhere to go. So it's just sitting within and making you feel worse. You need to clear that out. And if you do, you'll find that you get a lot more kind of mental equilibrium. Things will feel calmer and you'll feel a bit more centered to move along the awakening pathway. Very, very important. And also important if you've been in any places where there's a lot of heightened emotion, negative energy, different places of the land will become very, very sensitive in awakening. The third practice that I would recommend in spiritual awakening is to cleanse your space. So once you've cleansed the energy within, it's also really important to cleanse your energetic environment, because quite often it's toxic, and it can be toxic with all the different things that get picked up. So if there's arguments or discord or conflict in your home, if you're spending time on land where in history there has been conflict, upset, negativity, bad things happening, you absorb all that energy. And quite often it's that can make you feel that you're kind of fed up, you feel kind of a little bit irritable, you're feeling, annoyed. Those kind of energies where it's your mood's just not quite right are usually an indication that you're absorbing energy from the energetic space around you, and it's negative. And of course, as part of awakening, we're clearing and healing all the time, even if we don't know. It's unconscious. So this negative energy is being released off of us and off of our souls as we go around. It's just kind of getting shaken off. And of course it settles in the home, and then you sit and you stew in it for much longer. And that means you kind of reabsorb the energies. It's almost as if you don't really escape the thing that you were trying to heal, because you're sitting in it like a goldfish stuck in a bowl. So you need to clear that energy out. And not only is that going to have an effect on how you feel, it makes your home kind of like your spiritual temple, but it also means that anyone else who comes into that space as well feels lighter, feels brighter, and feels more at ease. I know that I do regular space clearing, and when people come into my space, they all say, "Oh, it's so chill in here. It feels really nice." It's like, yeah, it's energy. It's not just that, I'm trying to make it look nice. It's the energy of the space, and it can have a really big effect on yourself and the other people in the home. So those are the three most important things. Now we can get into what's the best way to do them. Now, I always say during spiritual awakening, you want to take a little break when things get a bit intense from things like incense, essential oils, crystals, meditation, things like that. Things that are really the fun stuff that we like in awakening. But sometimes you do need a little break of a couple of days to up to 2 weeks to rebalance your energies, because a lot of these things can overstimulate your energies when they're already really heightened with the awakening process. So you might notice that you use incense or sage, and then suddenly, maybe a little while later, you notice you feel quite anxious, you feel quite restless, you can't really settle. Maybe you're using crystals, or there's crystals in your home or in the space of the room that you're in quite often, and then you notice, even though that they're supposed to be grounding crystals, you just don't feel right. You feel more emotional, or your moods are sparking, or your energies are all amped up. It's just because your energies are too sensitive to be around that right now, and sometimes you need to take a break. So try not to use those things. I know that grounding, people would usually use crystals or certain essential oils specifically for grounding, but give that little break for now, because what you're going to do is overstimulate the energies and your symptoms will get worse. So watch out for that. When you use these types of things, notice, are my symptoms of awakening getting a little bit more intense? Are they becoming a bit tougher to deal with? You don't want that. So you're going to take a little break. And like I said, our free 5-day course below will guide you through each step of that. It's totally free, and it'll lay the foundations that you need to make your awakening much easier. Also, with clearing your personal energy, again, people use things like crystals, essential oils. There are different things that you can use to cleanse your energy, but you're really better using the other method that I'm just about to list, because it tends to make it worse. It tends to amp things up, and it doesn't really go anywhere. And then you can start to get into, chakras getting misaligned and just becoming a bit out of balance, which isn't good. And then, of course, cleansing your space. People like to use sage. I love sage, but I do find that especially when my awakening is a bit more heightened, it tips me off balance a little bit. It's quite a heavy energy, and it can leave you, sage, incense, all these different kind of like incense sticks and things that you burn, quite often they have a heavy energy to them. So you use them and you expect to feel all light and lovely, but they kind of weigh you down a little bit. And of course, the energy patterns that are in the space around you just kind of fall back in on themselves, and you're still living it out. It's not really cleared at all. So the best way that you can move through all of this that I've found is you want to use energy healing. Energy healing means that you are working on the same level as where the problem was created, because it's all energy. So what we want to do with these things is make the adjustments that we need. So for example, for grounding your awakening, we actually have a course. I'm listing these courses below just in case it's helpful to you guys. We have a paid course below which will use energy healing to basically create the foundations for every different stage and aspect and difficulty of awakening. It's a 7-day course of energy healing sessions, just like if we were working one-to-one, just to kind of program your energies and get things settled so that you can level out and so that you've got the right foundations to move forward in your awakening. It's the first step and it makes things a lot easier. So you can take a look at that. But that's how we would use energy healing, you're better to use energy healing to ground the energy than to use external things that are going to maybe trigger it and make it a little bit worse. Clearing your energies, we have a course for that as well. So it's called the Rainbow Light Energy Clearing, and it's probably one of the favourites. It's great because it'll do all the work for you. It'll cleanse your energies, it'll clear your aura, it'll get all that negative energy out of your space and just kind of freshens things up within. So basically you can just use that whenever you feel that you need a clearing, whenever you feel that your mood is starting to tip, good indicator that you need the clearing, and you can use that. You can use it as often as you like. I usually recommend using these things at least once a week, but we have people that use a few a day because they just love dipping into them and getting the healing and the downloads that they need. And then of course you can cleanse your space. I would always recommend energy healing for cleansing your space because, like I said, incense, essential oils, crystals tend to have a heavier energy that can affect us when we're so sensitive during awakening. And with that we've got the space clearing energy cleanse, which you'll see below. You can check that out, and again does all the work for you. It works on the room that you're in, the building that you're in, up to the roof, down underneath the foundations, the land that you're on in case there's any historic stuff there too. It's clearing everything so that you're going to be less affected by all the external stuff, because you've got enough going on during awakening. It's tough enough without all the influx of more psychic information that sometimes we don't realise we're taking on, but it's pretty intense. So you guys can check all that out and see if it feels like a fit for you or if it's helpful. And of course, if you have any questions about anything that I've covered today, please do ask. I'll take a few minutes and I'm going to give a few shout outs just to see who's with us today. So we've got Julia, hello, she's joined us as well. We've got Gina from Canada, awesome. We've got Mimi from Georgia, and we've got Melissa as well. So thanks so much for joining us, guys. And of course, if you have any questions about this, please do ask. But the key thing that I would say is you want to focus on those 3 areas because they're the things that are going to keep you most balanced during awakening. So grounding your energy, clearing your personal space, and then clearing the space around you as well, so that you're constantly in balance. You're really keeping things nice and clear, and it can make awakening a lot easier if you don't have to worry about those basic things that would tip you off balance. You're just kind of keeping a foundation so that whatever comes up, you can manage it. When an emotion comes up or an issue comes up, it's like, okay, yep, it's a bit intense, but I can handle it, because all these other things are the foundations in place that are supporting you and keeping you level, which is the most important thing. So it doesn't look like anyone's got any questions, which is great. I hope I've explained it all well. You can take a look below at the free course and the paid courses if that's something that would be useful to you to support you in your awakening. And if you have any questions, let us know. We're happy to help, and take care.